Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, I'm going to get another quick little reminder out here for the brand new PlayStation 5 price cut. We also have some pretty cool news when it comes to upcoming games, some movies that might actually be trying to go to space, and some other little kind of big things too as well, all in the PlayStation ecosystem. As well, I do know we actually have quite a few different dads all up in the community, so if you guys are fathers, happy Father's Day, and if not, if you guys want to, make sure you guys are going to remind yourselves to go and send a nice little text or call or whatever for your dads out there, or if not, do whatever. And of course, as well, I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. Make sure you guys are subscribed, notifications on Twitter and Twitch and down below, and of course we'll have the Amazon link for the nice little reminder we're going to talk about over here on this video. And let's dive into the video itself. So very first and foremost, you guys may or may not have had a chance to go in here, but I had a few people actually talk about this, ask about this, and a lot of folks have been bringing it up once again. But in case you guys have actually missed it, right now the PlayStation 5 God of War Ragnaroks are actually even more on sale. I think we touched on this maybe a few days ago, but people kind of bring this up, so maybe people just missed it or whatever. But as of right now, there's also a link down below if you guys are curious, and this one on the description and also comment section if maybe you guys have some friends or family members or presents, or maybe for Father's Day, belated Father's Day, or maybe you're a dad yourself, you just want to splurge and get something nice for yourself. Don't forget the PlayStation 5 God of War Ragnarok consoles are still on sale for even more. They were initially at $510 before, which was like a very slightly additional price over the normal disc editions, and now right now they are basically at the flat $500 price point. Now you can still in theory just go buy the normal PlayStation Disc Edition for whatever reason at the same exact $499 price point. But right now, I really just do not see the reason not to just buy this. Like, it's literally the same exact price as the Disc Edition, but you're also getting God of War Ragnarok, which is still a brand new game that's not even a year old as of yet, and it was a very, very good experience. Even if you never played the first one, it's a good game. You will like it. It's worth playing, especially for, in theory, free. Or as well, don't forget if you guys have friends or whatever, or if you guys already have the game, or I don't know, whatever it might be, you don't even like the game. Don't forget you could also just go give that code away to someone on Twitter, on the community, or even like your family, friends, whoever it might be. Like, I'm sure if you asked someone out there with the PS5 and you wanted to give them a code, I'm sure someone somewhere out there would be like, yeah, I would love it. So basically, if you guys do want to get your consoles, I would still highly recommend this. This is linked down below, still a good price. It's another $10 cheaper than it was before. We're still not really sure exactly why. Sony's basically selling, number one, both of them at the same time, aka the normal disc editions, and as well, they also have these normal consoles, but it is kind of cool to see nonetheless that they do exist. So you got to give a big little thumbs up for this one. Go check those on out, link down below. Now for a little bit of kind of fun little gaming news. We have a little bit of Final Fantasy news and everything else, but let's go first of all talk about Kojima, because Kojima is just always the most interesting random dude doing the most random things. Hideo Kojima wants to leave Earth to make a game you can play in space. So someone please send me up to space. Like, bro, Kojima's trying to go get some brand new AAA games out here, saying this is one of the games he's always wanted to play. And if you guys have seen, we've seen some crazy stuff when it comes to Metal Gear or Silent Hill or even Death Stranding, which we have a little bit of Death Stranding news to cover too as well, and I cannot wait for Death Stranding 2. But one of the big things to know on this one is that, well, Kojima once again has the mind of a madman, and he wants to make a game you can play in space. So speaking at the premiere of the new documentary, Connecting Worlds, the veteran game director was asked what he wants to do in the future by his friends and Summer Games Fest producer Jeff Keighley. Axios Steven Totillo wrote on Twitter that Kojima responded with, "I want to go to outer space. I want to go to outer space and create a game you can play in space, so please someone send me to space." That this guy unironically wants to be launched into space itself to probably maybe get the feel and like the physics and like the vibes of like literally floating around in a space station or a spacesuit or whatever it might be, and maybe want to get the atmosphere or the sounds or the everything else, like what you actually go and see the Earth from, to basically get a bunch of really creative ideas to see what happens. Those in attendance at the event have also suggested that Kojima's words weren't entirely serious, and it was also maybe him trying to just assume he wants to do a lot, like a more focus on space games rather than doing both. Kojima's a bit of a crazy guy. I could see him want to do both for the full-on experience. So staying outside the work of the Metal Gear franchise, Kojima has been keen to experiment with unconventional gameplay mechanics. So in my mind, bro, imagine how scary it'd be if you had like a Death Stranding type style game. So imagine like goopy and mysterious and world-ending and apocalyptic and scary sounds and everything else with the really good Kojima twist. Because don't forget, he's been very, very on top of the stuff. I was using Death Stranding as like the most recent vibe. And imagine this in an in-space game. Like, that would be one of the coolest games I could see, and I'm a very big fan of Kojima game, so I'm kind of down with that. So one example is the Game Boy Advance RPG Pokai The Sun Is in Your Hand. The game's cartridge included a light sensor, activated by taking your Game Boy Advance outside to the sun, which would charge the in-game weapons. So one of the craziest and weirdest mechanics too as well. And don't forget, Kojima in Death Stranding had like an online component where people can like literally build like streets and like car ramps and charging stations, and you're basically trying to rebuild America, which I had a chance to kind of see a bit more when I came back from the game. When I first started playing Death Stranding, if you guys ever played it, I played on basically day 1 and 2, and I got pretty far into the game, so I never really saw like much of the planet. But when I went back as well throughout the game and kind of re-experienced stuff, I saw so much cool, like there was literally like a highway system. It was ridiculous. So really cool to see. So Kojima's also spoken repeatedly in the past about his desire to create a game that would self-destruct should the player die in game. A description for the Connecting Worlds documentary reads, widely regarded as the first amateur of video games, this visually captivating documentary gives a rare insight into Hideo Kojima's creative process as he makes his own studio as well. So basically, it's kind of cool to go into that he does want to keep making cool games and develop cool stuff under the Kojima brand. Which also, speaking of which, too, as well, he is also on top of the Death Stranding movie. So he's actually not going to be the actual like film director, which kind of sucks. But he did go and say he's going to be involved in the production, the supervising, the plotting, the look, the design, and the content of the film adaptation. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, the directing can probably be done by a lot of different folks either way, and I feel like for someone like Kojima, I think the parts that he's more involved with matter a lot more. Mainly the fact of like actually seeing the design and the characters and like actually what's going on with the story, because don't forget, Kojima's more of a story guy, if anything. I think this makes a lot more sense. I like the idea of this. Think this is actually really smart because Kojima's just a smart dude and a pretty creative mind. Like a lot of his type of stuff is a very, very creative person. Although he's always wanted to direct his own game, so I think that's why some folks might be a little bit on the sadder side or mediocre side. Would make a lot of sense in my mind, but like, I don't know. It's basically he's like there to make sure the quality control is there, and he's going to make sure the movie's actually good. And I think I'd almost prefer that. Like, I'd rather have a director that's good. I'm not saying he wouldn't be good, but he just hasn't done it yet, and to make sure he makes everything else all perfect. So just a little bit of updates for Kojima, a little bit of Kojima fanboys over here. Now, we also have some pretty cool stuff when it comes to Final Fantasy 16. Now, if you guys are kind of curious, Final Fantasy 16, I am extremely hyped up for. Devil May Cry designer says that Final Fantasy 16 is his own personal masterpiece, and that Ryota Suzuki previously worked at Capcom on the Devil May Cry series, and they're basically saying that this game is like one of the best games ever. Now, obviously, this could be all dependent on your own thoughts and opinions and directions and everything else in between, don't get me wrong, but one of the bigger things to go and know is that everyone who's played this game, myself included, has loved it. But as well, we've also been seeing a lot of love and attention, a lot of extra hours, a lot of extras vibes, and it was also done ahead of schedule, barring any like little changes they want to go and do for the game. So I think everything's been really nice with that. So Final Fantasy 16's director also basically said he just thinks the game's awesome, which is also really cool. So basically Dragon Dogma, Monster Hunter, Capcom's, good old Devil May Cry 5, all these types of good games. So he has some good merit to what he's about to go and say. So that he put the priority on designing this game's battle system to appeal to those who have not previously had played any of these types of games, or they're not really well versed in these action type style games. And they're hoping that if no one's ever played a game, they can still try out Final Fantasy 16, and because it's a brand new story, they can still appreciate and enjoy the game itself, and they had a chance to rock up the game. So they just keep on saying, like, bro, this is gonna be fun. Like, even basic combat fights should be fun, should be fast-paced, should be frantic, should be involved. And if you guys played the demo, it definitely felt like that as well, and the game is coming out very, very soon. So there also did have a little bit of a big warning / hack we told you guys about, not really hack, but like leak, and just make sure you guys are careful online, because there has been some story spoilers floating around on Twitter, on the 4chan, on the Reddit, and everything else too as well. So they're going to be on top of that one. But they also did go and also have another day one patch confirmed, which once again, we talked about that yesterday, where some folks were a bit on the skeptical side. I'm okay with it. They're fixing stuff up. I don't think that should be a big deal at the end of the day. But they had a lot of cool patches already in the works, and it does seem like they have a big list of things they want to make better in the near future too as well. And to kind of find this down too, there's actually a lot of really cool Final Fantasy 16 veterans as well working in the game too, where Final Fantasy 16 has just been a big, big game. Like kind of as we just mentioned over here, there's just a lot of folks out here when it comes to people who have made games throughout all these years. There's like a lot of good stuff in terms of like the producers, people actually making the content on the game, the creator, directors, and everything else. And don't forget, there's been a lot of big video games in general that have always existed. Like we kind of know Square Enix has made games for bajillions of years. So they have a lot of really big talent that's there to make these games better and make them just good, like just solid, good games. So I'm just excited. Like everything about this game has given us such a big thumbs up. We're getting really good preemptive vibes. Obviously, if you guys always want to be skeptical on pre-ordering, just in case the game does fall flat, or it's front-loaded, or whatever it might be, I totally get it. I respect it, but I cannot wait to go and play this. If you guys want me to do some cool stuff on YouTube or on Twitch, leave me know in the comment section down below. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. Check out the Amazon links down below for the good old consoles. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream as well down below if you guys want to follow that on up. And of course, we also have all the other various links too as well. And I appreciate y'all so much for watching in the first place.